Chris Pirillo here covering CES 2013 for AMD, and I am in a sweet, oh, who's this behind me? I'm sorry, it looks like one of the people from Oculus. Do you guys remember hearing about this little gadget a few months back? This is a VR headset. I mean, how would you explain what this is?
Sure. The Oculus Rift is a new virtual reality headset designed specifically for immersive gaming.
Okay, so I got what it was right.
Pretty much you nailed it.
Okay, fair enough. So I am going to do a demo, and Nate is going to kind of talk through what I'm doing. You're going to be able to see on this screen what I see on this headset. Now, at this point in time, don't get too excited because they're still looking for developers, people who can take advantage of this hardware. And of course, gaming comes to mind. And there are going to be some, I'm assuming you guys are into gaming.
Absolutely. We're huge gamers. That's obviously why, we're building this thing for games. We want to be, Palmer's vision from the very beginning was to be able to jack into his favorite games like The Matrix. And I mean, that's where the Oculus Rift came from, and that's what we're all about at Oculus.
All right, and this is very limited for people to see right now. I got very lucky when you guys reached out. I'm like, I've heard of this thing. I have to see it for myself, literally. I recognize this as the Epic Citadel code.
That's correct.
So it's running the Unreal
Engine 3.
Okay, so it's not a full-on game demo. This is just an example of what's going on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just a tech demo. Just want to make sure everybody understood that. So, Nate, should I hand you the camera and then strap on?
Yeah, that'd be great.
To strap me
No, I think you'll be able to handle it. I think I can take this.
The only thing you have to watch out for, those are the microphones on top.
No problem.
You don't brush them.
You got it.
Otherwise, it goes. Okay.
Sure. All right, so take the Rift with two hands.
Okay.
And bring that up.
Lightweight.
Yeah, thank you. Bring that up to your eyes. And just adjust it a little bit. There's a sweet spot in the lenses, so you'll want it to resolve.
Okay.
Then, and this is the one tricky part, you need to click in the strap on the back.
Okay.
See your snow goggle.
If I can find it. Make sure how it clips in.
Apologize.
This is probably easier for you to. Oh, I see. Is it like a little crosshair?
They just go together. Just push them.
Oh, it goes in.
Like a seatbelt sort of thing.
The least complex part of this I screw up. Okay, there we go.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
So, now what I want you to do to start, I want you to look up, look down.
It's 3D.
It's all stereo 3D. Look left, look right. Now actually physically turn your body and look behind you. So you can see that you are getting full 360 head tracking.
Okay, this is a little odd. I'm not disoriented though.
Good.
But this is astounding.
What are your initial thoughts?
I can definitely see that as I pivot my head around, it's moving. But like when I duck my head around the corner,
right?
It's not there yet. But I assume that's just a part of the API that will evolve.
Yes, so right now we're tracking orientation, but we're not tracking position. So. Big movements side to side, leaning forward. If you crouched on the ground, nothing would happen.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So as I move around, that's the only thing that I would say is it was a little weird. But otherwise, I'm not gonna say like I'm in the video game, but this is about as close as I've ever had to being inside a video game.
That's what we're going for. So I'm gonna hand you a controller now.
Like this, I want to reach out and get the snowflakes. It's crazy.
All right, so stick your hands out, and then I'm gonna try and do this. Hang on.
Keyboard, should I? I'll enable like ghost mode again.
There you go.
You can fly around with this. All right, so it's an Xbox controller.
It's an Xbox controller. So the left stick will let you walk forward. It'll actually let you walk wherever you're looking.
I don't want to do that.
Now, before you go too far, actually turn around using. You'll need the right stick. Yep. There you go, and go inside that cathedral.
This is a little weird to be like physically seeing like my full field of view it's really bizarre.
And if you go to the left there and then to the right, you'll come to this room with a nice reflection on the floor.
Wow.
And you look down, you want to see yourself on the floor.
Where are my feet?
You're invisible. We'll get there.
No, I mean like it's weird to be like walking. I'm immersed. I'm in the video game, yet I'm walking around with a controller, which is a little, it's weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the first time you ever watch a 3D movie and you're just like, wow, that's unreal.
So this is Unreal Engine 3, but just by chance. But
there's no wordplay intended.
I absolutely understand what you're saying. If you want to head outside that cathedral to your left, yep, same way you came in. And when you get back outside, head to your left. No, actually, it's interesting with the controller input. I just wanted to touch on the fact that, this input where your head orientation is tied to the rotation of your character's body.
It's a little weird. Yeah.
That's just the what we did here. You can imagine in a game like Hawken, which is a mech game, or just think of a flight simulator where you have a fixed reference point, then your head movements wouldn't affect the rotation of the car or the plane or the mech. They would be completely independent. So this is just one control scheme. It's not what every game is going to use.
I feel so bad for people watching this video because you need to see this. You guys literally need to see this. I mean,
stick to the right there and you'll come out over a nice vista.
Yeah. And there's the little fair, the carnival, or the King's, whatever.
Yeah, you can head down there.
This is what's weird is like I'm turning my head because I want to go that direction, but I have to walk as well. I'm like, okay, there's a rock. Okay, I'm on a road. And I can't fall off though, not in this engine.
So one neat thing with the Oculus Rift, something that you wouldn't have in a standard keyboard, mouse, or even gamepad setting is that you actually have a lot of roll. So if you tilt your head left or right, basically touching your ear to your shoulder, you actually see the effect. And that's something that hasn't really been done in...
you're right. So the bridge, it stays level on the horizon as I tilt my head.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it suspends disbelief. Isn't that the phrase?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're going for, right? That level of immersion where gamers can actually suspend disbelief and actually be inside the game.
I just I know I'm like walking around, I'm like looking back. Wow. And of course you can see obviously on the screen, but I'm in it. I'm in the game. This is a bit. I'm walking backwards now, for some reason. Why? I'm moving around. Are you moving me?
I'm not moving you.
Is something pushing me?
Nope, it's just you.
Okay. Oh, maybe is it because my head was moving then?
Could have been.
Wow.
So, again, this is an early prototype of the developer kit hardware. The developer kits are going out in March to our Kickstarter backers and other developers around the world. This includes the full SDK, which is all the head tracking, sensor fusion, head modeling, predictive tracking, everything you need to integrate the Oculus Rift into your game engine. And it also includes our Unreal Engine 3 and Unity integrations, which are the most popular indie game developer engines right now. So if you are an Unreal or a Unity developer, you can load up a level and start exploring in VR day one.
Wow.
Unreal is the most popular AAA engine.
Says Brendan Iribe, CEO of Oculus.
Wow.
So there should be some really high fidelity content in this experience, almost photoreal, really high detail. That's something you realize in VR that you want richer and richer detail.
And I'm the kind of person who gets car sick easily, but I'm not feeling any kind of motion sickness, which is good. I mean, I'm not.
It feels pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it's very comfortable. And of course, I'm used to FPS types of controls and walking around and navigating.
It's a good look for you too.
Probably better than my real glasses.
So do we want to bring you out of there and we can chat a little bit more about it?
Sure.
With
I almost don't want to come out.
With you looking at us.
Yeah, we'll help you.
Is it that little button there?
Clicked here.
Oh, fantastic! Wow.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We can actually videotape right in there. You could get right up to those. You can see when you're looking at that.
It's pretty hard for an unskilled cameraman like me.
Well, it's like looking at a stereogram. You got to see both, sides with both eyes, and it really, you're in it.
But you're in it.
Wow, that's seriously. I haven't done VR in ages, and the last one was this bulky thing, and it was horrible. That's not horrible. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's good for where it is. I mean,
better than what you expected?
Way better than what I expected.
And what we say really is that this is day zero VR. This is the very beginning, but you can imagine from here where we can go.
Developers having access to the hardware, being able to unlock their own imagination.
They're going to go out there and they're going to be creating all kinds of magical content. We can't even imagine what they're creating because this is a whole new experience. It's VR is what people have always imagined and always wanted to make and have and experience, but hadn't yet until here. So
when can they experience it? I mean, as a consumer, when are you planning on getting it into our hands?
So right now it's developers only. It's shipping in March. 10,000 units. We expect a lot more people will show up. That's just developers. So 10,000 developers. There'll be a huge amount of content at that point. We'll continue to be working with the developer community, building the developer community. You know, it takes a while for content to show up. Content doesn't show up within weeks. It shows up over months, even a few years it can take. So when there's enough content to really justify consumers wanting to go out and buy this, I have a lot of friends that they haven't heard of developers before. You know, you mentioned a certain game developer, they're like, what game did they? I don't, they just play games. If you mention a game, they'll know that game, but they're not necessarily developers. So people like, the typical player, for when will it be ready for that typical player as a consumer product? It's not many years away. It's relatively soon, but it's not necessarily just a few months away. This is going to be something that takes some number of months for enough content to show up. We're hoping to launch with a pretty broad catalog of games. We've already gotten interest from a lot of the top game developers out there. Now, in our experience of integrating it with Unreal and Unity, working with some top game developers like Carmack and Valve, we know that it does take a while to get this really integrated. You can get up and running in a day or two, and you can see something, and you can step inside of your experience and be like, wow, this is really awesome. Boy, we didn't quite size the world correctly for somebody at 5'10", so we need to kind of resize some of this content, or our content looks a little bit plain in here. We need to improve this content, add some more detail. That is going to take a while for developers to really ramp up on. But once it's there and there's enough content, then we're going to be good to go with a consumer product, and it'll be for the masses.
Cool. I'm ready. I'm not for this. This is developer stuff. I'm ready for the final product.
We are too.
Okay.
That's
sure
why we all started.
Are.
We want to get in there and experience. I mean, some of our favorite games, we're dying to get in and experience. I can't tell you how many people put this on and come out and say, God, I'd love to play Skyrim, or I'd love to play Call of Duty, or I'd love to play, there are a handful of top games out there, Assassin's Creed, that, Minecraft, Even Notch came out of it saying, boy, I'd love to play Minecraft.
But the thing about that is, when I played Minecraft for the first time on a 30-inch screen, I got car sick. That's when I did have motion sickness, but I didn't detect any of that here at all. And I'm sitting where the screen is on my eye, it's there. So as opposed to this looking at a screen and having peripheral vision of things around.
This is going to ultimately be more natural than having some big screen that you're kind of too close to. This is going to feel like your vision. Once it's ready for consumers, it'll need to be higher res, and it'll get faster, and it'll get all kinds of things will improve. The precision of it will improve on the tracking, but
you're on the right track.
Already pretty close.
You're on the right track. I don't trust me. If I'd be good, like, okay, yeah, that's nice. That's great.
Good luck.
And this would never make it to YouTube, but no, this will absolutely make it to YouTube. That's genius, guys.
Awesome.
Good job.
Well, we're glad you get to experience it.
I'm glad you guys reached out.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for coming.